We're watching the White House this morning closely as well. U.S. President Joe Biden will detail plans today for U.S. troops to pull out of Afghanistan. It would happen by this September 11th, a key date, the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks on Washington and New York, masterminded by Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan. The withdrawal would mark the end of a 20-year-long campaign led by the United States that began with the Afghan invasion in October 2001. It's the longest war in U.S. history. Canadians fought alongside Americans in Afghanistan in what is this country's longest war, too. 158 Canadian troops were killed in the line of duty during the combat mission that ended in 2011. Now, senior Washington editor Lindsay Duncombe is with us in on this story. 3 presidents before Joe Biden, Lindsay, have wanted to bring U.S. combat troops back home from Afghanistan. It hasn't worked. It hasn't happened. Why is Biden doing this, and why is he making the announcement now?
Well, it really does signal a shift in the Biden administration to different international challenges and threats, Heather, including China, Russia, and dealing with climate change. This is something Joe Biden has wanted to do for a long time. When he was Barack Obama's vice president and there was the decision to increase in troops to Afghanistan in 2009, Joe Biden argued against it. And the idea of pulling troops out is something that he campaigned on. The current troop level in the United States is about 2,500 troops, then with another 1,000 or so special forces. And this is something that Donald Trump had actually talked about doing and found himself getting pulled back in. Trump set a different deadline. He set the deadline of May 1st. That will not be met. By pushing it back until September, it's more than the symbolic date of September the 11th and the 20-year anniversary. It's also about making it orderly, getting other countries, other NATO allies on side. That's something that the Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, talked about when he spoke to NATO countries in Brussels today. Here's what he had to say.
Almost 20 years ago, after the United States was attacked on 9/11, together we went into Afghanistan, and together we have achieved the goals that we set out to achieve. And now it is time to bring our forces home.
You heard him say achieve the goals that we set out to achieve. Certainly one of those goals was to topple the Taliban. And the reality is, Heather, that the Taliban remains an incredible force inside the country. There are peace talks ongoing right now. But the reality is, depending on how that goes, Afghanistan could potentially see itself on the brink of a civil war. And that is after 2 decades of Western countries trying to broker some kind of peace.
What is the early reaction to Biden's plan?
Republicans, many of them don't like it. They see this really creating more of a terror threat should the U.S. leave Afghanistan. Here's what Mitch McConnell had to say. He's the Senate Minority Leader speaking on the Senate floor.
Precipitously withdrawing U.S. forces from Afghanistan is a grave mistake. It is a retreat in the face of an enemy that has not yet been vanquished, an abdication of American leadership.
This is an emotional debate for many Americans, Heather. More than 2,000 Americans have died in the conflict. The total death toll in Afghanistan exceeds 100,000 people killed, and tens of thousands of those people are civilians. We're civilians.
Lindsay, thank you very much. Our senior Washington editor is Lindsay Duncombe.